What's up, YouTube? This is Frank Nitty here once again for another Monday recap. This time, I'm going to be talking about the Packers' Week 3 win against the Cincinnati Bengals, 27-24 in overtime. Now, coming into this game, the Packers came off a really bad, embarrassing loss to the Atlanta Falcons, and the Bengals were coming into this game 0-2, losing their first two games in the season. And before I start talking about a lot of things that were going on in this game, let's go ahead and look at a couple of numbers real fast. Aaron Rodgers dropped back to pass 42 times, completed 28 for 313 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Ty Montgomery ran the ball 12 times for 35 yards, and Rodgers scrambled a couple times for 23 yards, and Williams ran the ball only once. Receiving wise, Geronimo Allison caught 6 catches for 122 yards. He had that big 72-yarder in overtime. Devontae Adams caught 3 for 60. Kendricks 2 for 52 and a touchdown. Jordy Nelson, six receptions, also for 52 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then Ty Montgomery had actually 8 receptions, but only for 15 yards. Most of those catches were just last-minute catches when there was nobody else open. So he wasn't really able to do anything once he got the ball. And then Martellus Bennett only had 3 receptions for 12 yards. He still hasn't really gotten it going as far as in the passing game, which is unfortunate. As far as the Bengals are concerned, Andy Dalton dropped back to pass 27 times for 21. He dropped back to pass 27 times, completed 21 for 212 yards, 2 touchdowns. Joe Mixon ran the ball 18 times for 62. Bernard 3 for 27. Hill 7 for 23. And then Dalton that 1 sack for -2 yards. AJ Green was their leading receiver, obviously, with 10 receptions for 111 yards and 1 touchdown. Nobody else had more than 3 catches. So, yeah. Now, as far as this game is concerned, the Packers in the first half really looked terrible. Let's just call it like it is. The Packers quickly fell down to the Bengals 17-7 by halftime. The defense looked really bad in that first series against the Bengals and even the second. They were just, once again, just giving up a lot of big plays. They weren't able to really get much pressure, minus Mike Daniels and Nick Perry. So Clay Matthews, being the only sole pass rusher left, he wasn't really able to get home. But I gotta give some credit to Mark Brooks. He was able to create some pressure, get home a couple times against Andy Dalton. But as a whole, the defense was quickly giving up points, and before you know it, it's 7-0. But the offense was able to respond and score a touchdown as well. So it looked like maybe it was just going to be a shootout, but no. After that first drive, our offense pretty much hit a wall. They weren't able to get anything going. Their play calling was really bad in the first half, and on top of that, we were struggling in protection, and that's a really big issue, especially with our offensive lineman being hurt. Brian Bulaga re-injured his ankle, so he had to come out of the game. David Bakhtiari was still out, so we were really struggling in protection once again. And it was so bad that obviously we had to leave Martellus Bennett in there a lot to help our protection, which is also another reason why he hasn't been that productive as far as receiving, because he's being asked to stay in and help block, because that's how bad the offensive line is struggling to protect Rodgers. I think the Bengals were able to sack Rodgers 5 times in that first half, so it was really bad to watch, man. And it got to the point where I felt like, Rodgers and the offense in themselves looked like they didn't even give a shit, man. They just had no life, man, in that first half. But you got to give credit to the Bengals defense. They really put the pressure on Rodgers, and we weren't able to get much going at all. Our wide receivers were once again struggling to get open, But what can you really expect when you got a lot of slow starting wide receivers like Devontae, Geronimo, those guys, like Devontae, Geronimo, those guys are big, they got nice size, but they're slow. So a lot of times when Rodgers was dropping back the pass, he's looking for the big play downfield, and nobody's downfield and getting open, man, because we got a bunch of big slow wide receivers. Jordy, Martellus Bennett, Geronimo, a lot of big, slow wide receivers, man. So you're not going to have much of a deep threat as far as you're looking for a big play downfield. You just aren't. So that's definitely something we're going to really miss and lack throughout the season, unfortunately. And something else we lack, I'm going to get to that later. But as far as the second half goes, all of a sudden the Packers were able to turn around and outscored the Bengals 20-3. So you gotta give a lot of credit to our defense for only holding the Bengals to 3 points in that second half, and only giving up 17 points in total. With that other 7 obviously coming off that pick six, which is Aaron Rodgers has got to clean up, man. Aaron Rodgers has now turned the ball over and thrown an interception 3 straight games, which is something that's completely unlike him, and it's kind of scary. He's really got to do better protecting the ball, and not force anything, even with the receiver struggling to get open, man. So it's kind of scary when you think about it, how Rodgers has already thrown 3 straight interceptions in these first 3 games, man. He's got to clean it up. But obviously he's been able to at least make up for it by still being able to throw some touchdowns and keep us in the game. But as far as that, and when you think more about it, he probably should have thrown more. You know, think about a couple of those picks that the Falcons dropped last week. But anyway, as far as the second half goes, halftime adjustments as far as on the protection side of things got better, so we were able to keep Rodgers on his feet, thankfully, which is another thing why a lot of Packers fans really should be thankful for Rodgers being as mobile as he's been since he's been the starting quarterback, because a lot of quarterbacks like Cam Newton, Joe Flacco, those guys, you know, especially like, you know, when you got guys who are just sitting ducks in the pocket who aren't really that mobile, then they're gonna get killed. You know, playing behind an offensive line that, you know, that struggles in protection. So again, like I said last week, appreciate how well Rodgers has been able to get mobile and get out of the pocket for as long as he has throughout his career. Because, you know, when you got a quarterback that isn't, you're in a world of pain, man. And right now you see it happening to guys like Cam Newton, like I said, and Eli Manning just getting killed behind these offensive lines because they're struggling to protect them. Now, as far as the second half goes, like I said, the Packers were able to outscore the Bengals 20-3, and eventually came back and were able to tie the game with that late touchdown to Jordy Nelson. And then the game goes into overtime, and I can't be the only Packers fan that was really, really worried that we were going to lose, because obviously the Packers do not have a good track record as far as overtime goes, especially under Aaron Rodgers. They even pointed out that Aaron Rodgers is 0 for 7 in overtime. So that's scary, and that sucks, and it's ridiculous in itself. And that's mainly because he never gets to touch the field, because the defense always gives up a quick touchdown to the opposing team for the victory. But this time, the defense was actually able to get stopped. The offense came out, a couple of plays, and then boom, Geronimo Allison downfield. Rodgers caught them offsides with the hard count, and he picked up the 72 yards to get downfield for the winning game, setting up the game-winning field goal. And then that's how you have it. The Packers win. They come back. They were able to make some adjustments and came out playing a lot better in the second half. So I got to give a lot of shout-outs and credit to the defense for being able to hold Andy Dalton and the Bengals, not being able to keep them from really do much when they came out in the second half. The rookie Josh Jones had a really good game. He had about 11 to 12 tackles, 2 that were sacks. Really good game by him, man. Really good game. He was definitely the standout guy on the defensive side of the ball. As far as offense, like I said, Rodgers threw for 313 yards. Geronimo had that really big catch in overtime. And as far as Ty Montgomery, he didn't really do much. We don't have a run game, man. It just is what it is. You're asking a wide receiver to be a running back. That's, at the end of the day, that's what Ty Montgomery is, man. He's a wide receiver trying to run the ball. And the Packers play calling and the coaches, they're not really committed to the run as it is. So Ty Montgomery's not really going to get that many carries, and even when he does, he doesn't gain that many yards. So honestly, I really feel like the Packers should just really start giving more carries and just more game time to some of these rookies, because how you gonna go? You can't be sitting here and drafting 3 rookie running backs and don't give them any chance to play. Let's bring some of these guys in. Let's see what they can do, man, because you're not going to get a lot of production out of Ty Montgomery run the ball, because the team is already not really committed to the run game as it is. So the run game, obviously, at this point is pretty non-existent. But anyway, the Bengals fall to 0-3. I don't know. At this point, you guys aren't going to do anything or get far with Marvin Lewis. You might as well get his ass out of here. Like I said, leave it to the Packers, who probably just saved Marvin Lewis and Andy Dalton's jobs for now. But at the end of the day, we were able to still defeat you. So which was also Aaron Rodgers' first victory against the Bengals, surprisingly enough. So, so anyway, the Packers aren't going to get a lot of time to rest because now we got to play the Bears on Thursday night, and the Bears are looking good, man. They got a really good run game going, and their defense is playing solid. And hopefully, our defense can buckle down and play somewhat like how they did in this game, because I'm gonna be extremely pissed if Mike Glennon comes out and all of a sudden has the greatest game of his life because we're giving up big plays and shit. Okay, so Kevin King, all you guys who are getting more play time, I hope with the increased play time, Josh Jones, all you guys, don't allow all that stuff to happen. Be ready for the Bears this coming Thursday. But that's all I got, man. If you watched this video all the way until this point, I appreciate it. Leave a like or leave a comment. I appreciate any of those two things. Thanks for watching my video. That's all I got. Peace out.